This episode of Wizards of Waverly Pod is brought to you by Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that helps you explore yourself through scent.
So two of my favorite fragrance notes are rose and vanilla. And I'm constantly trying new fragrances to find that perfect mix of floral and sweet to express different sides of myself for different seasons and occasions.
With Scentbird, for $17 a month, you get to choose a new designer fragrance every month. You get to pick from brands like Gucci and Prada, or more indie labels like Skylar and Heretic. So you can pick exactly the fragrance you want with no surprises.
With each fragrance from Scentbird, you get a 30-day supply to really see if a fragrance is right for you before you commit to a whole bottle. Each month, your chosen fragrance will come right to your door in a special protective Scentbird case. With a simple twist of the gold top, you can access your fragrance. And if you want to spritz your scent, you just have to press the gold top, whether in or out of the case, whatever you prefer. This month, I received fragrances from Sicily Paris, Furla, and Haultain, each with a description card showing full-size versions of each perfume, with the notes included on the back. Haultain's Parfum de Marly is soft and sweet, with a touch of luminous refinement. With notes like bergamot, praline, and oud wood, it really is perfect for a great summer date night out. Sicily Paris's Le Eau Rêvé du Aubert is a refreshing everyday scent with notes like mint, geranium, and patchouli. It really plays well with others if you want to mix and match with other scents, or you can wear it on its own. Furla Fabulosa is fruity and floral, combining notes like grapefruit and peony. It really is charming for spring, and it combines my love of floral and sweet all together.
If you want to start trying new scents today to highlight all aspects of you, then use code WIZARDS at checkout for 55% off your first month at Scentbird.
I think I just found my new favorite fragrance, for this month at least. I had metal braces behind my teeth.
Oh, on the back.
And I think for 2 years, my tongue was just bleeding.
I didn't have braces at all.
Smile.
And I think...
Your teeth look great, kid. So this is the David, DeLuise, and Jennifer Dental Hour. No.
I did not have braces. And by the way, this is the DeLuise smile. You ready?
Yeah, let me see it. Yes, it is. Because your dad, I always get this wrong because I always fuck this up with like Paul Newman. What did your dad have? He had spaghetti sauce?
All over him at all times.
No,
Wait,
I was like he had he had sauce.
Spices.
He had
spices in a cookbook.
Because I remember like once I started working with you, when I just started, I was like, oh my God, there it is. I went to the grocery store and then I see the face at the grocery, and I was like, there it is. There's David's smile on like a spice.
I just stole everything from my dad. You know, I say this, that if I make a mistake with something, I just somehow go into my dad. I just go into, and I use all his same jokes, which is, I thought I was taller. That's his joke.
But you know, I can't even imagine, because my dad thinks he's funny. I love you, Dad, but not as funny as he thinks he is. But if you,
that's dad's, right?
But that's dad's. But if you come from like you steal from the best. I mean, if you come from like that environment, of course you're going to be influenced by your dad.
Yeah, I had Carl Reiner, Mel Brooks.
All right. Well, I didn't invite you to like drop all the names.
I'm going to
drop
it, but I had a lot of Gene Wilder, Gilda Radner. I had all these very funny people around me at all times that were friends of the family. So
you had like a first-hand seat, front row seat.
I had a first-hand seat. I wasn't in the cheap seats. Firsthand. Is that what you did? You put those together.
I did.
You did that another time.
I know. My brain just goes, it just like mishmashes.
It's a genism.
It's a genism. There you go. The genism is to mishmash. That's what it is.
Listen, I want to tell you that my wife and I don't know how it kind of came up, but we said, I love you more than 42 pregnant elephants. So we have like an elephant thing. And this is a cup that she gave me with elephants.
It's not a pregnant elephant, though. That's disappointing. We'll have to like Sharpie it in.
It's not pregnant, but I don't know where that came from. I'm going to have to ask her.
I don't either. Is it a German thing, maybe?
No. It was just an us thing. I don't know. I'll have to ask her how it came up.
That's really cute. I love that.
Tell everybody else.
Me and my cats have a lot of
Before we go into rewatch, Jen.
Yes, okay. I'll put the synopsis
I'm getting emotional because this is important to me. I cry all the time.
I love
Stop crying, David.
No, it's good that you cry.
In one of our earlier episodes.
There was a pregnant elephant?
No, we were talking about what we could take, what we couldn't take.
Yeah.
And you said you didn't even get a back to a chair.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
Everybody who's not seeing me,
he's getting his very
bag that I got as a present
sassy leather
from Third
satchel.
Rock from the Sun. I'm giving you a Wizards of Waverly Place back of a chair.
David,
isn't that cool? So now
you're
you have
so
that.
sweet.
It didn't say my name or anything, but it's just there.
But you're not.
I have another one.
Okay.
Because I steal in twos, and now you have one.
Thank you so much.
And this was not planned, everybody. Jen did not know she was receiving a gift.
And it's got a Tony hair on it. I'm so excited.
Tony is my dog, by the way, if you don't know.
Tony, and I get it back. This is so sweet of you. Thank you
love you,
so
Jen
much.
Stone.
I love you too. Well, end of episode, I'm going to have a quick cry. That's so nice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, now how am I supposed to smoothly transition to the rewatch now?
Wait, you don't have a gift for me, Jen? No,
I don't. I'm an empty-handed asshole. Lord.
But because you had said that, I wanted you to have that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, there's no transition smoothly out of that, but you're just the sweetest.
Well, I'll say the title. You say
things.
Rewatching.
Rewatching
Alex's Choice.
Oh my God. See,
Episode 7.
All right. So we're going to start doing synopsis.
Yes.
Synopsi. Because a lot of you are saying like, oh, we'd love to rewatch the thing, but because of, can you say the name for me, please?
Disney.
It's a little hard with the copyright issues, guys, to have like clips and things like that. So we're going to
start
doing.
You can also watch it on Disney Plus if you want, but
Disney would love that.
Until then, Jen is going to give you the synopsis.
Okay. So in this episode, Alex's Choice, Alex is suspicious when Gigi invites Harper to a tea party. When she learns it is a trick, she must use her magic to save her. Justin and Max play a prank with wizard mail that is taken very seriously.
And David DeLuise is not in the episode.
I'm very sorry. And so it's, yeah.
And I'll tell you
But you're spoken about a lot.
I am,
and you're
which is
bad
weird.
at hiding keys.
So me not being in the episode, and I don't know how you feel, but it was a little shitty to not be in there because I was only, I think, a 10 out of 13.
It feels like you're getting picked last for dodgeball.
It was like they were trying to do the show and see how it worked without the dad or something.
No.
You know what I mean? Okay, yeah, they're saving whatever the amount of money that my salary was, and they're doing what they want.
You want to talk about shitty, though? I had to come bank school hours, which I'm going to do a DeLuise.
Oh, no.
When you're banking school hours is when, no, but you would have to, because we would have to have so many hours logged. So if like we went over and we couldn't get the 3 hours required
a day
by SAG per day, they would pull from our bank of school hours.
And also while the kids, you were shooting, you would rehearse and then go back to school and you'd do like 10, 15 minutes of school, then go to work.
So there was a lot of times I wasn't in the episode, but I was on set because I was banking school hours. So that really sucked because at least if you weren't in an episode, you weren't there. Rather than me getting to see all the cool things they got to do and like all the fun you were having. And I'm just sitting there being like, well, algebra's great. You know?
Well, that just, you brought me back to school.
It
hurts. It hurts my heart and my brain. But there were positives and negatives. For me, the positive was I get to spend time with my kids for that time. And also that I could come in and shadow the director.
Yeah.
And see.
Yeah.
And
because I'm sorry. Did you direct a few episodes?
Yes, Jennifer Stone.
I swear, I'm going to start I'll be an alcoholic, so I can't do that. But I was going to start saying I can take a shot every time you mention Third Rock or that you directed an episode.
Are we going to have a drinking episode? We're all grown up.
No, we can't.
Why? Oh, because it's
we can.
Disney.
No, we can drink. I guess we can drink. Because it's the middle of the day. That's why.
I challenge you to a drinking episode one time, and we're gonna do that because then that'll be funny. And then we'll be driven home by someone else.
At 11 a.m., we'll do a drinking rewatch.
So rewatching this, it was very interesting.
Had you seen the episode before?
I had.
Okay.
And I really realized they're talking about Jerry Russo like he's an idiot. I mean, So David and Jake are arguing, and they're like flicking each other's ears and like doing their knee, and so Maria wants them to study in the lair. I'm somewhere on a wizard conference, wherever I am. And I've locked the layer and they're like, yeah, but look, Dad left the key and there's a huge key about 2 feet away from the lock.
Maybe you're just absent-minded.
Okay. But then also Maria says, don't tell your father several times, which I don't think is very cool. That's not like parents together, right? I mean, did your mom ever say, don't tell your father?
Oh yeah, of course.
Ah, okay.
And my dad, vice versa. Like they were,
But I would never say that. I never said that to my kids. I never said, don't tell your mother that I'm letting you have a donut or whatever it was.
Really?
I never, I guess we could ask the kids, but I never said to them, don't tell
I mean, I guess
your mom.
I
You
see
have
what
to be
you're
united front.
but I see what you're saying. I think that's a better approach because it does kind of lead you to coming from a non-parent, and I know nothing about parenting, but I would imagine it would lead you to kind of playing the parents against each other to start to introduce that, right?
I just have to say, I don't know how the fans felt, but I felt like everybody on the show was talking about me like I was not right.
I think, no, I don't see that. I think you're overthinking that. But I thought it was very funny.
Roger. Okay. It was definitely interesting to watch an episode that I was not in. And one of the things that they talk about is wizard mail.
Yeah.
And David says, we've never had wizard mail.
Yeah,
Yet they know exactly how to use it and do it. And you know what I mean? Like through the portal and everything. It was interesting to me that they, there is an episode where like I receive wizard mail. I put on a mask
catcher's mitt,
and get a
catcher's
mask.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was an interesting idea.
But didn't you say in that episode where you put on like the catcher's mask that you're like, you can't do this because you like it messes with the wizard world or something?
Maybe.
Because I think that was why, like, because you were gone, and I'm sure the fans will be like, no, it's because of this. But like, because you were gone, that's why they were doing it, is because they got to like enjoy it.
I feel so stupid now. Was that episode prior and we've already watched that and I missed it?
I think so. You guys have to forgive us because we're rewatching a whole lot of episodes. So our brains are trying to put it all together. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ever do prank? Did you ever do prank phone calls or prank?
No, because I was a 40-year-old at 14.
I didn't.
I was such. I mean, maybe I was a wet blanket, and I mean, I was fun in other ways. But to me, when like people were doing pranks, I was like, "That's so fucking stupid. I don't want to do that." That was my approach. I was a bucket of laughs when I was 14.
Well, like the Jerky Boys. And I don't know if anybody remembers the Jerky Boys, where they would record. Oh, you don't know from your looking, but they would call like a bar and be like, "Hey, is Sal there?
Yeah,
is Sal there? Salami." And then they go, is there a salami here?
Is your refrigerator running or like that kind of thing?
But these guys were professional.
I remember like crank yankers. That's what I remember.
Yeah, that
came after.
might have been them.
Oh, was it? Okay.
The Jerky Boys might have turned into that.
Crank yankers?
I'm sure everybody's going to correct us and tell us. So Gigi is back.
Yeah.
And in this episode,
yes.
Named after one of our writers,
yes,
Gigi. And your relationship with Alex had to be kind of pushed away because Gigi now, the bully, is asking you to go to this tea party. And what was that like? Like, where is the acting zone for you to, I have to go along with this bully who, like, where is it that you're,
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is there's certain things as an actor that you have to justify. Why would you not listen to your friend Alex as opposed to this bully Gigi?
That one on a personal level, I had to separate because sometimes you can just pull from like your own experience and be like, oh, I relate to that or I totally understand that. And so it's more towards the surface that you can grab from it. That one was a bit harder for me because I'm like, why would she? And then I thought about how like, okay, when you have somebody that is the most popular person in school, and I think about like Harper's background of like she came from these showbiz parents that moved around a lot and she never really belonged to a group of people, right? And Gigi represents belonging. And Alex is totally fine being an outlier and being an outsider. In fact, she kind of thrives in it.
Right.
And so my justification for that was this is the first taste because Harper, by her nature and by her upbringing, is, an outsider in the most beautiful way. It's one of my favorite things about her.
She's unique.
But the thing is I think when you're at the age that she was in the first season and that I was at 14, most of the time you're still trying to find yourself and to find that comfort in yourself. So I think it was the first time she had the opportunity to be in a group. And I think she wanted to know what that felt like.
Yeah.
Because that was so not a part of an experience that she'd had so far. So I think it was something of like, oh, I want to know what it's like to be a part of a group that's socially acceptable and normal. And I think that was where her and Alex kind of butted heads is I think Harper did crave a normalcy and like, I want a normal high school, thing. Just like when your parents are like the whole joke of like when your parents are really over the top and crazy. You have a really straight-laced kid.
So if they're normal and quiet, then
the kid's crazy. Yeah. Like both my parents are like computer science majors, and then they got 2 creative, weird kids. Like that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
And just so to clarify for everybody, when I say crazy, I mean that in the best possible way. Like I don't associate crazy with bad. I associate crazy with like.
Well, how could you? You're crazy.
What do you mean, Jennifer Stone?
But yeah, so that was how I justified it. But it was interesting to explore in that episode because it's like so much of who Harper is as a character is about how she relates to Alex and what a good friend she is to Alex. So for her to step outside that and be like, no, I want to be friends with this person who's been so shitty to her.
Right. And this also shows something, another side of Alex, which didn't happen. She kind of threw you under the bus a lot. This is the first time that we're really, or one of the most memorable times to me that she is going out of her way to protect you or to be there for you, to go to the party with you.
Yeah, I thought it was a really important moment for the Harper-Alex dynamic because it showed just how deep their friendship was. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like it wasn't just this like, oh, she gives her shit and she takes it. You know, it was deeper than that. Like there was more, layers to it, and it was more, meaningful. And I think it also showed, as much of an anti-hero that Alex was, like it showed like her heart and who at her core she really was. Right. And what a beautiful person and a beautiful friend that she is.
Exactly. And your guys' relationship was awesome, tested at times, but I think the big thing about a sitcom is if you don't care about your characters, then who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
It's true.
So the writing was important so that we all cared about each other. Dysfunctional, but we cared. I'm going to say 3 things that I really loved about the episode that were really cute. Maria made me really laugh. Where she's about to, she takes the lock off the layer. David and Jake go into the layer, and then she really debates whether she's going to lock them in the layer or not. It was really funny. Made me laugh.
Some of my favorite moments with Maria, she was so good at I don't know if quiet comedy is the right way to put it, but those moments where like, where she didn't say anything, but she could tell like she just like the physical comedy and like where she didn't have any lines, but she just worked the moment.
Yeah.
She had so many really hilarious moments that she really made work without saying a word, which is just a testament to her.
Which is a testament to her, and also a really nice thing when everyone knows your character. Yeah. When your character is so clear. Like with Jerry, if someone said that costs, it's only $10, and he goes,
$10.
That's a lot, even just the reaction to that money is something funny. And then something else is when you are in Tribeca Prep.
Yes.
And you walk away, Gigi and her friends are talking, which is just so funny to me that they have big bumps on their forehead.
Yeah.
And they say, what is that? And they say, well, it's going to go down. It's going to drop down to our cheekbones and make us look good. I was
like, the physics of that makes no sense.
It's silly. But then Selena, even though she's not allowed to do magic, has a little.
Jerry's away this episode, so the mice will play.
True. But this little book. She has like a cheating book of spells, which by
we
the
never
way,
saw again, by the way, right?
In this episode, she uses it twice.
But after this episode, I don't think we ever see it again.
And I would say this to Selena, like, you got to flip a couple of pages because she opens it and it's like, here's the spell.
There it is.
You know what I mean? One time she opens it and it's right there. And the other time she opens it and she does turn the page once, but she turns her ear into a bat ear. And Gigi and her friends are no more than 9 feet away, as if you can't hear them, Well,
they were stage whispering, right?
Okay, so in a sitcom, if you are next to someone, but you lean toward the other person and that person who's not supposed to hear you is not in the shot, and you talk whisper like, hey, can you,
then
like,
no one
as if you can't hear me, which is so silly. There was, I know we're talking about this episode, but there was a Whiz Tech episode where Selena, a lot of times in these shows, you'll say to yourself, okay, I got to go down there and I'm going to do this and I'm going to jump over the thing and I'm going to do this. You talk to yourself.
Well, but it's just like with theater, like, the cheesy of like when you're talking to someone else and then you go, it was a great summer.
Yes.
And then like you like talk out.
Which is so silly.
Yeah.
But I said to Peter Marietta, our writer, creator, producer, executive producer, he also did craft services. But I went up to him and I said, I'm standing right next to her.
Yeah.
Can I just lean in and say, who are you talking to? Or are you talking to yourself?
Which was a great moment.
And I did. I leaned. Maybe I
moment.
said this to Peter already, but I leaned in. I was like, are you talking to yourself? And she's like, no. And then later she does it again. And then there's a recall where she says, I am talking to myself.
No, but that was one of the things I loved about our show is how we had a self-awareness that was really nice. Because there are moments like that. And I think everybody watching TV, movies, theater feels that way. Of like there's certain things that are just unwritten exceptions that we're like, nobody does that. This is weird. Why are we doing it?
Trying to make that work.
Yeah.
Trying to talk to yourself. Now, every once in a while, I'm at home alone and I'm like, oh, David, why are you doing that? Like, I have seen myself talk to myself, and as an actor, I take note of that.
Yeah,
you know?
But as often as you do on a sitcom or in a play, like it's odd.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the third thing?
That I was watching this and I'm like, what the hell is Jennifer Stone doing with white gloves on? That's so weird. And you had white gloves.
You hadn't just accepted that Harper was going to.
No, but I wrote it down. I was like, why is she wearing white gloves? And then the next scene, you say, I'm getting ready to go to the tea party and to have tea, and you wear white gloves at tea.
I'm such an old lady, and I was at the time too. I've always loved tea parties. I've always really loved them. Like even like as like a really little kid, like I would love having tea parties, and I like collect like tea sets and stuff. So I was all about the gloves. Really loved having them.
So cute. I didn't know that. I mean, I did tea party with my kids.
Yeah, sure.
You
see, I never grew out of it. So I was an old lady and a kid at the same time. I don't know. Ageception. I don't know.
Well, I'm sheepish to say you got robbed, but your childhood was working. You were.
But that was by choice.
Yeah.
I have a lot of like kid actor friends that was not their choice. Like their parents put them in it, and I begged like a lot. Like it took the first time my mom ever brought me out to, and we won't go down this rabbit hole because that's a whole thing. But the first time my mom brought me out to California was after a lot of begging, after I kind of reached my peak in Texas acting, and she thought it was going to be a 2-month vacation at the infamous Oakwood. And then
Oakwood is a place where a lot of actors from out of town go there because it's now month to month and also furnished.
Yes, it's now been renamed, and it was like at the peak of like Frankie Muniz driving his cool cars there, and like I think Mitchell Musso was there at the time, and
anybody who was anybody was there.
All the child actors were there. It was ridiculous. But yeah, she thought it would be like 2 months, and that would be it. And then we joke that I just kept getting work, and she kept having to come back.
This episode of Wizards of Waverly Pod is brought to you by Manscaped, which is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precisionally engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 8 million men who trust in Manscaped. Now, if I'm doing my math correctly, that's 16 million balls. I have used scissors in the past, and let me tell you, it did not end well. Ouch and ouch. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0 reduces the risk of ingrown hairs. This trimmer is the future of trimming. And dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer of all time. Their 4th generation trimmer is waterproof, so you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor and hello to advanced skincare technology. And on top of that, you get 2 free gifts. Get 20% off and free shipping with code WIZARDSPOD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with code WIZARDSPOD at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools with Manscaped. Happy trimming. There was a bit, I wanted to say this, where everybody's cheersing, right, with their cups and everything, and then Selena breaks hers.
Yeah.
And this was a moment where I was like, oh, she did this really well, and this was another moment where I was like, oh, the timing is happening.
Yeah.
So she had the cup, and she kind of just like sauntered over to the plant and like threw the rest of the cup in the plant, which I thought was so funny.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
I mean,
I like that one too.
It's not a big thing, but it was done funny.
But but it's those small moments that like are so impactful, that are so funny. It's like sometimes like, and that was what I liked too about our show, is because I think the traditional Disney Channel way is to go real big. And I think what the special moments that we found were the smaller ones like that. To toss the teacup.
You have to have a range. You have to have there's a cadence and a tempo, I always say to a sitcom. So there's, there is those quiet moments. It's a lot of setup, jokes, setup, joke, setup, joke.
But it's also diverting expectation. So if your audience starts to expect the setup joke, you've got to divert it and surprise them.
Yes.
And what you were saying too, of the fact that like when you know your character so well, you know, which that was so Alex to throw the teacup.
Right, of course.
You know?
So the truth spell happens. So everybody's telling the truth.
Yes,
and
which I love.
And at one point, I loved all that. You're like, I hate you. Your nose is not as good as mine.
Yeah, with all like those nose jobs.
Everybody just loathed each other.
Yeah.
And there was so-and-so from Spanish or something.
Yes, yeah.
She looked like she was 85 years old. I mean, she was not a high school
Be
student.
nice.
Not 85. I mean.
But I think she was our age though.
I don't know, Jen.
Well, okay,
she looked pretty grown up.
But there's some people, I'm sorry. Sometimes I look at old like reality show episodes and they're like, she's 19. And I'm like, I've never looked like that. I've never looked like I wished at 19 that I looked like an adult like that.
Well, but
that
a
girl
lot of
does,
times,
you know what I mean?
and some people don't
just
know
look
this,
different.
but you hire kids sometimes older to play younger.
I think she was
because you
maybe
can work
like,
them longer.
Yes, I think she was maybe like 20 or something.
That's old for high school. That's okay.
I don't know.
She seemed old. Whatever. She was
okay.
funny. She was nice, but she was the only one who, in the truth, moment.
Yeah, was like, I'm 45.
But she said, I hope this is not one of those loser parties. I've been to, 6 of
I
them
know.
this year.
Oh God.
So sad.
I was so like, honestly, the whole like loser party thing it was so mean and so like Josie Grossy and so from like Never Been Kissed and just so, it just broke my heart.
But good, because I have 2 daughters, and some of those younger girls can be really fucking mean.
Even I remember, so coming from Texas, it's football and cheerleading. And if you do anything else, you might as well be dead. Like football and cheerleading is all it's about in Texas. People were like, don't you love Friday Night Lights? I'm like, no, I lived it.
Did you ever try to do it?
Once. And this is why I'm bringing this story up about just how mean they can be. I was in grade school because I stopped going to school when I was in 5th grade. And I'll wrap this up because I know this is not about wizards at all, but it is pertinent, I swear. But these girls that were never nice to me, to the point of like, I would show, like one was a neighbor and she's like, we don't want her at the slumber party, when I was like returning a video and like slammed the door in my face. Like that's shit. Like girls are crazy. When it comes to like the mean girl nonsense. But anyway, so they came up to me and were super nice all of a sudden, kind of like Gigi is in this episode. And they were like, you should try out for cheerleading. You'd be so good. And I was like, me. And to me, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of performing. Maybe I should. So I got all ready to try out. Come to find out, they wanted me to try out because there was something about if there was a certain number of people, then one person would get cut. And they wanted this other girl they didn't want to be on the cheerleading squad. But if I didn't show up, then she would automatically be on the cheerleading squad. So I found that out the night before and I went, fuck you guys. And so I didn't show up at the last minute. So then everybody made it and it really pissed them off. And so, because this one girl, they didn't want to be on the cheerleading squad. And I was like, Bring It On was fun, but I'm good. I don't need to be on the
I did enjoy Bring It On. I would say that. But that's terrible and I hate those people.
But but the thing is like, it is sad because I do agree with you. Like the sad thing is like a loser tea, isolating one person, pointing out like ganging up on people. Sadly, that is a reality.
Yeah, and interesting. Our show, smartphones started during our show.
Yeah,
Twitter later on started during our show. But during this episode, there's no smartphones. There's no pictures being taken. Yeah, there's no humiliation.
Which
of
this
the
would have all been like on a video,
right? It would have been very different.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't go, by the way, to the cheerleading. That's good.
Me too.
So to think about there's a suspense of disbelief when you're doing a sitcom.
Yeah.
So Gigi now gets her own. So they're like, what do you want to do with that cake? So Gigi, the actress, is just standing there. And her friend is like, I want to eat the cake. Oh, what's the second thing you want to do? Oh, I want to put it in her face.
And she just doesn't go anywhere.
And Gigi just stands there and takes it. Doesn't even put her arms up or anything, which is just so silly.
Yeah.
And Gigi's friend puts the cake in her face so hard. It's like she knocked her down. Yeah, she's like, somebody probably said, don't you mess up. You know what I mean? Like you get that cake in her face.
But there was a lot of pressure whenever there was like, bits like that, because they were like, okay, you only have 2 shots at this because we only have 2 matches of the wardrobe. And,
right. Or 1 shot because she put it in her face and I didn't see anything change.
Rough.
I felt bad for her. And she had to like get, her things off her.
Skylar Samuels, who played Gigi, and she... Samuels,
right.
She took it like a champ.
She did a great a great job. I'm sorry that she wasn't on more episodes.
I know.
And I said this to you earlier, but I am fine with what happened. But when Selena gives you the loser crown to put it on her, I almost was like, maybe Harper won't do that. Maybe she'll
be the better person.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, Gigi I hated Gigi. The character is just mean. It's all bullies. So, let her get her own,
Yeah, it would, and I think that's like kind of circling back to what I was talking about of how like at that time they're still kind of finding their character, not in like their character on the show, but their character of like being a person. Right. And I think if it was later in the show, I think we would have been more realized in that. But I think at that time, like they're still figuring out who they are and still figuring out like, hey, is it worth stooping to the same level?
Right.
And at that point, it's like, I don't think they were as self-actualized to not stoop to the same level to give her the crown. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much.
I'm thinking about too much too. But I just was like, there was an opportunity for that to happen, which is fine.
Yeah.
And I have to talk about now the
Chandelier.
Chandelier. Now,
which by the way, was, what my memory of the chandelier, sorry to cut you off.
No, tell me.
My memory of the chandelier is it was made out of PVC pipe and we were on a green screen, which by the way, looking back at it now, the green screen is so like, because the scale is all off. The scale is
completely
so off.
Even the far shot of the swinging.
We're like the size of the whole room.
The single shot, it's not swinging in the same kind of dimension.
It's a mess. But all I remember is, because I didn't think about not locking my elbows. So I locked my elbows when we did it and my arms hurt so bad. So every time I look back at that scene, all I can think about is how much my arms hurt so bad and how as an actor, I just literally was like, don't fall. Don't let go.
Were you harnessed in? Were you?
No, because we were on like an apple box, which is a little box that you stand on. It truly is like a box. Because I think back in the day it used to hold apples, and they would flip it upside down and they would just use it. I think that's why it's called an apple box. It's like a lavalier mic, like whatever. I won't go into that. That's like 1920s business. But anyway, so we would like get off an apple box and then just hold on to this PVC pipe. And we were only like a foot off the ground. So there was no need for harnesses, but it was enough
so you weren't high.
That it was like gravity still pulling on you and like all that kind of stuff.
On another episode, I had said that, the special effects were a little,
well, we got there.
They were,
it took time.
They were well done. And you actually said there wasn't a lot of time for the turnaround, and there wasn't. And
budget.
Yeah. And budget as well. But I mean, I have to give a shout out to everyone who dealt with the special effects.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. And our advancement in what we were capable of doing as a business changed to the very end. It's just so creepy. Maria and David and Jake are doing their laundry for the wizard police, which we never saw wizard police again.
I know. There was a lot of like bits that we had and then just dissipated, just went away.
Like the episode where we got a dog and you never saw the dog again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah.
I guess there's shows where maybe that happens, but
yeah, where we were doing their laundry because the guy had all the arms and legs.
Yes. Yeah. They were doing their laundry, and this is very odd, and stay with me, everybody, but Maria holds up a shirt that has 4 arms, and he says, "Be careful with that. That's my wife's." Why does he have
his wife's clothes?
Laundry in the layer? It's a lot of thinking.
That's a by interpretation.
Yeah.
That's a choose your own adventure kind of detail. Right. Well, DeLuise, I thoroughly
Jennifer,
enjoyed.
I'm very busy. I have a lot to do.
I have a lot of tea parties to go to, sir. Pinky out, pinky out.
But I will say, just to wrap this up, it was interesting, but not fun to not be in the episode, And I have to say,
you got to let it go, DeLuise.
Listen,
it's been years. You got to let it go.
I love you. I love the show. I love everybody. But I missed me in the episode.
I missed you too.
I wish I was in there.
I missed you too.
Hey,
but you know what? I'll talk about it a lot when I'm not in the episode and we go over it as well.
All right. You guys, thank you so much for listening. And Jennifer Stone and I love you all.
Pinkies up, guys.
Pinkies up. Bye.
If you want to start trying new scents today, to highlight all aspects of you, then use code WIZARDS at checkout for 55% off your first month at Scentbird.
Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out this week's episode of Wizards of Waverly Pod. And if you want clips from this week's episode, head on over to the Podco YouTube channel. The link is in the description to follow. And if you just can't get enough wizards in your life, I know I can't, then head on over to our Patreon and follow for exclusive weekly bonus content. The link is also in the description. I'll see you next week.